LCTV is your nonprofit community media station. Please donate at lctv.org to keep us strong. Thank you.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Talkin Town Talk. I'm your host Larry Seidlinger and I am really excited today because we have a real live walking, talking, breathing star in the studio. Miss Hannah Cumler from News Center 6 has sat down and joined us, and she's also now a veteran pumpkin paddler. And that's what brought us together.
And I think that's my favorite title that I have.
Well, welcome to Talkin Town Talk. This is so nice. You've come up from Portland and joined us today. So we've kind of connected a little bit with this pumpkin thing and whatnot. And we had a ton of fun doing that. You had fun, I'm sure.
Best day of my life.
Well, hopefully this is the second best day. So, but before we get into all that, tell the folks at home a little bit about Hannah Cumler. You're kind of a local girl, just inland a little bit.
Yeah, central Maine for sure. I grew up in Manchester. I went to school at Maranacook. I love Maine, but I always came to the Midcoast growing up too. My dad kept his boat down near Pemaquid. One of my best friends, her parents live near Pemaquid, and so I spent a lot of time in Damariscotta growing up. I worked at Schooner Landing for, I think it was one summer, but I'm nervous. I'm like, maybe it was two. But anyways, had a blast doing that. So this area definitely has a special place in my heart. I went to school in Boston, absolutely loved it, and actually had no aspirations of being on TV, doing broadcast journalism, but took all the journalism courses and was in communications. Went on, thought I wanted to do media relations and professional sports actually, and then one thing led to another. I ended up working behind the scenes in Boston at a sports network there, and was really encouraged by some fabulous people there to pursue something on camera, and then did what everyone else does usually in this field and went to a super small market and kind of got my feet wet there, and then have bopped around the country and ended up back here in Maine about a year ago.
So that's it. Been a nice show, guys. See you next time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us.
So, but you covered a lot there. So,
I know.
Your time at Schooner Landing, you remember Charlie.
Yep.
What a character.
And Scott.
And Scott, what a character. And of course, I was down there with my big boat and whatnot.
We've crossed paths several times. Yeah.
We have. The world is small sometimes.
Well, this Maine.
2 degrees of somebody.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's when I meet anyone from Maine, I said, who do you know? Because we know each other through one other person. I'm sure of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you went to Northeastern, studied journalism. Did you work in Essen?
I actually studied communications.
Communications.
Yeah, but took journalism courses. And what's funny is I had people tell me, like growing up, they're like, I could see you as a newscaster. And I was always, I think I was a little timid to pursue that, but I just never thought it was like a thing I could actually do. And here I am, so that's great. But I worked at a public relations firm right out of college for a year. And then I went and worked as a production assistant at NBC Sports Boston.
Oh, nice.
Before they merged under that one, big building, it was when they were in Burlington, and I loved it.
You like the city?
Yeah, I love the city. Yeah, I love Boston, but I love Maine more. So it was just a really, really great experience.
And then you went to Michigan?
Then I went to Traverse City, Michigan. That's where I had my first job.
And that was in front of the camera?
In front of the camera, yeah. I'll never forget it. I moved out there, and I started work on a Monday. I shadowed the morning reporter whose job I was taking. It was her last week. We're still really good friends to this day. And 4 days later, I was doing my first live shot I've ever done in my entire life. And I was so nervous. It was with the American Red Cross. I'll never forget it. And anyways, from there, the rest is history. I was an on-the-road morning reporter, MMJing, so setting up all my live shots every morning.
Kind of like what Hannah does, Hannah Yeshivi does.
Yes, but Hannah is usually partnered with our fabulous photojournalist, Tom, and does her live shots with him. And this was just a little different in that I was doing it all by myself. Like, there was no one else standing behind the camera while I was live on TV, and it was traveling everywhere by myself, but I wouldn't change a thing. It was the best experience. So I only did that for about a year, and then I moved into an anchor position there. In Traverse City, yeah.
So where was the sunrise?
That was in South Carolina.
Okay, so
Yes.
that's a switch.
Yes.
Lifestyle in Traverse, Michigan is a way lot different than it is in South Carolina.
100%. Yeah, Traverse City reminds
The whole persona of personalities is different.
It is
a lot
so
more
different.
laid back.
Yes, it's very different. Michigan reminded me a lot of Maine.
Yes.
So that transition was pretty easy. It's beautiful there. And then I went to South Carolina, and it was just a complete culture change of job, change of just lifestyle. And I've never been to that part of the country and spent a significant amount of time. So, and it was great in its own way. I was taking on like a morning anchor position, filling like some big shoes there. It felt like a step up per se. And
Is there something about morning seems to ring with you? Are you just an early riser?
I love waking up at 2 a.m. I wouldn't trade it for the world. No, I actually do prefer mornings. I think a morning show lends itself to allowing a little more, I don't want to say personality, but gives you some more opportunities.
You start your day with everybody.
Yeah, it's like a little lighter in a sense than like the 6 o'clock.
Well, the group you work with in Portland, there's a lot of lightness there.
They're the best people ever. I mean, my gosh, yeah.
Well, that's why they're number one in Maine.
Yeah, they're amazing. So I grew up watching a lot of them, and so to have them, rise up to what you expect them to be, and they're even more than that, has been really cool.
Well, and from South Carolina, did you come from there to Maine?
Yes, I did, and I honestly was not planning to do anything, but there was this opportunity to kind of like fill in for anchors at News Center, and yeah, I took it because I, came back. And
what an opportunity, though, to be able to come at, and you've got not that anybody is old. I would never say Sharon Rose is old.
Well,
she's still 39 in my book.
Yeah.
Be still my little heart. But to work with all that experience, and then like you've got Rob Caldwell, 40 years in the business. Pat Callahan just retired. Did you have a chance to know?
No, we didn't, sadly.
But we've talked earlier, buddy Don Kerrigan.
Yeah.
And Lee Goldberg. He's been there decades, and Todd's been. There's just a lot of really talented journalists and personalities there.
I know. I was a little intimidated on my first day.
I could see that.
But I will say it quickly went away because they're just so nice. They're just like people in Maine. I mean, they're not intimidating people. They're just the friendliest people, and they've all been there that long because they have such a good environment there.
When I met Sharon at the Pumpkin Fest, Sharon Rose, she walked by me actually, and I said, "Here's your chance, Larry. If you're ever going to meet the woman that you've just, been gaga over for 30 years, now's my chance." So I turned around and I introduced myself, and and after talking to her for like 30 seconds, I felt like I'd known her for 10 years.
Well, of course, yeah, she is the best, and that's why I knew exactly when I found out there was an opportunity I could potentially be in the Pumpkin Regatta. I knew I was going to ask Sharon immediately because she's down for anything. And she's such a good sport. She's so fun. She's the one who came up with our whole costumes.
Well, that was my next question.
Yeah.
Where did you get those get-ups?
Well, to be fair, we polled our producers, and one of our producers, Emery, she's a gem, and she threw out a bunch of ideas, and we went with thing 1 and thing 2, but Sharon was one like, let's do the makeup and the wigs and everything, and she gives me like the confidence to go and do it because I have her right alongside with me.
Well, that was really interesting because I had seen you that morning of the Pumpkin Regatta at, I don't know, 4:30 or whatever time we all were down there starting to gather, and you had your look like you was doing an outdoor shoot.
Yeah.
And then a few hours later, because we were getting ready to, and nothing went well for us that day, but that's another story. But a few hours later, I saw you had this makeup on and this get up, and it was like, where did they come up with that?
I have to give
roared.
a big thank you to King Iders for letting me change and do my makeup in their bathroom there because they let us come in before the race started and do it there. So, it was a quick transformation, but a good one.
So, now that you're a veteran pumpkin paddler, your first thought, and you went first, Sharon went second.
Yes.
It was a relay. For you folks at home, it's a relay. So Hannah gets in the pumpkin first. What was your thoughts? Just trying to balance this thing and please, Lord, don't let me go over?
Yes, I was so nervous. I had no idea what to expect, but I was getting tips from everyone who's done it before. Like, this is what you should do. And so I was just thinking, like, hold my, center of gravity a little bit, like, keep myself low and, core strength.
And you're not this little teeny thing to fit down inside that pumpkin. You're a tall girl.
I'm very tall, and that's what was my downfall. My legs have never been so sore than when I got out of the pumpkin for the next week, because I was my legs couldn't fit, so I was having to hold myself up. It was like I was doing a squat.
Pretzel yourself down in there.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy, but it was fun, and I'm just glad that I didn't fall.
No, you actually made it around.
I did. And Sharon would have too.
And you had two great announcers calling the race.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Sharon, we came up with a plan that, like, if we weren't going to win, then we were just going to jump in at the end anyways. Because
Which you did.
Which we did. So when she did it, I was like, that's my cue. Jumped right in after her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And getting out of the pumpkin is almost as challenging as getting in.
That's where I think that I would have, gone in if any time, because it is hard. It's tricky to hold yourself up while the pumpkin's wobbling back and forth. So.
And it doesn't look like it's hard paddling that thing, but you're trying to move. It's
extremely difficult.
You're trying to move 500 or 600 pounds.
Yes, and if you go too hard one way, you don't just correct by switching the other way. You start spinning in a circle. That's the first tip I got. Like, hey, don't go too strong there, because you might turn around quick.
So your experience in backing up here a little bit,
yeah.
working in the Portland market, what's your take on it as opposed with like working in Michigan or South Carolina?
I've just never felt more comfortable than I have here, and I think it's just because I'm from here.
You know Maine people.
I just get it. I think the biggest thing that I never even considered in the other places is the other places I go and I have to learn the town names, the county names, where I'm at geographically, the vibes of different places, like some more institutional knowledge that you really have to learn just by being there and getting caught up. Here, I just have a lot of that, and I'm not, I don't have the most institutional knowledge, but I have a dad and a grandfather and a mom I can call up and get it. So I can
see that where you know who the governor is.
Exactly.
In South Carolina or Michigan, you have to go find out who the governor is.
Right, and learn about them.
Yeah, and learn about them.
And know who was before them and things like that. And so, and like we said with the degrees of separation, if I'm doing a story and I need a connection, I can get it pretty quickly here, whereas before I really had to work for it. So.
Do you ever get back to the Manchester area? And
all the time, yeah.
And people say, what do they say?
Oh, no. I don't have anything like that. Are you kidding me? My parents say, come on over, pick up some takeout on the way. No.
You're still Hannah that can do the errands.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I will say that it's been fun being here because I have so many friends and family that get to watch, and they're just encouraging and, make me feel great about what I'm doing. But it's,
What's one of your favorite stories you've done here?
So I haven't had the opportunity to do a ton of stories on my own because I just fill in anchoring most of the time. But absolutely, it's been the Pumpkin Fest. I mean, that's been the highlight of my whole year, just because I've always enjoyed. It's my favorite festival. We've gone growing up. My dad brought us down, and it's something that I always wanted to race in a pumpkin, but I never thought I would be able to.
So when you still certainly have friends in Michigan and friends in South Carolina. Yeah. When you told them that you were going to get in a pumpkin and paddle around this river, did they wonder if you'd lost your marbles?
Well, a lot of them have had the opportunity to visit Maine, and now they say, that's so Maine.
Only in Maine would you get in a pumpkin.
Yeah, that's so Maine. And I love it. You're absolutely right. I wouldn't change it.
And what was the take on the rest of the festival? You had a chance to walk around?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's my favorite for a reason. There's so many fun things. What did we do right after? Well, there was about 20 of my family members here to watch the race. And so afterwards we got out of Dodge. We actually went to Shaw's. It was the last day they were open, had lunch there. But the rest of the festival is great. I love the art displays. That's actually Don Kerrigan. I interviewed him about the Pumpkin Fest.
Picture,
yeah. And he said that was his favorite too.
Don and I have been doing that MC regatta almost since the very first time they did it.
Yeah.
And we used to do it off my boat, and it's just, this was going to be the year that I was going to retire this year.
Why? You can't retire.
That's not the whole story, but anyway.
No.
So Dawn finally said, well, I'm going to do it one more year, and we ought to go out together. So I said, okay, well, we'll do it one more year, Dawn. I'll do it one more year. So when this was over, and we're going to discuss this because we're having dinner New Year's Eve together, I said, okay, Dawn, we're done. Well, he said, I'm not quite. I'm reconsidering.
That's the spirit, Don Kerrigan. You better reconsider.
So,
now
and
that
he's
I know
older
you're both...
than I am, so I can't go out,
Well, listen, I'll put the pressure on it. I can't. Who's going to call the race if you guys aren't there?
There's got to be somebody as dumb as I am out there. It can sound as stupid as I am out there. That's for sure. So what does the future hold for Hannah?
I just don't know. Right now, I'm just really enjoying being in Maine, being with my family, being close to friends, being so close to the places that I love. Like even right before I came here, I just did like a loop through Damascotta because I was like, you know, they're going to have
drive by.
Yeah, we'll drive by. I'll see all the wreaths and the Christmas decorations and just soak it up.
So I should have asked this before.
Yeah.
What is your normal day?
Yeah.
I had Ricky Craven on here, who was a big NASCAR star back in the 90s and whatnot, from Newburgh, Maine. And I said, what is a normal day for you, Channel 6? When you know you're going to be on TV tomorrow morning, you got to be in the, was it 4 o'clock show, 4:30 show starts. What does a normal day look like?
Well, it's not that strange except for the wake-up call. It's just pretty normal, but...
Do they actually call you?
No.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. No, they'd be calling me if I wasn't showing up at a certain time, but no. I have to be responsible for my own alarm clock. I wake up around like 2, and then I get all my stuff together. I got a really...
Obviously, you're a morning person.
Yeah, I mean, no one is a 2 a.m. morning person if they say they're a morning
being a truck
person.
driver, I was always on the road at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
You know those hours.
Yeah, I do.
It's all about just like getting out of bed. I swear,
once the feet hit the floor,
you're fine. Yeah, you'll get there. And so I got really good advice on my first ever in Traverse City. I had a great friend. She's still one of my best friends. She was the morning anchor, and she said, just get your body through the door. And I say it to myself every morning. I don't get ready at my house. Everything comes with me, or it's already at work, and then I just get ready there. But I come in, if I'm filling in for Lee, then I sit right next to Sharon. If I'm filling in for Sharon, I sit right next to Lee, and we go over scripts independently. And
you and Lee, or you and Sharon?
Yeah, I mean, we just sit in the same row in the newsroom, and then we're just at our own computers, and we go over the scripts for the show. We ask any questions we might need. If any news comes in the morning, we add that in. We talk with the producers. Just like such a friendly room. I'm excited to see everyone when I go in.
And everybody else has got up at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, well, producers come in overnight, so they're up even earlier. So I mean, they're the real rock stars. And anyway, so we do that, and then I go and get ready. Put on a whole face, I look like a completely different person, and then I'm ready for the news. Then we get mic'd up and get our IFBs on, and then if I'm on the 4:30, it's a little bit earlier, but it's only one anchor that does that show, and then if I'm on the 5, I go down to the studio, and then they're all morning with me and whoever it is, Sharon or Lee, and Todd, and yeah.
And let the fun begin.
And it's a party, yeah.
And so you do your show, you're off at 7.
Yep. And then there's,
like a decompression time?
Yeah, right. It's a big sigh of relief. No, it might be a second cup of coffee or something. But then there's cut-ins for the Today Show. So one of us will do like our live little cut-ins when they say like, here's your local news. And then if you have to work on anything else, you can stay and work if you want, or if you have to go get an interview, go, and then go home and do it all again the next day.
Do you see yourself maybe someday like working out in the field more?
Yeah, I love working out in the field. Whenever there's like an opportunity. Right now, I'm just kind of like
a fill-in.
A fill-in, yeah. So anything they need, I'll do it if my schedule allows for it. So.
Are you coming back for another go around at the Pumpkin Fest?
I would love to, but it is like a lot of people want to be in it. So I understand that there's other people patiently waiting, but if I'm ever invited back, no matter where I am, I will be there.
Well, I know that they could be looking for an MC next year.
No, I'm turning that down. And I hope everyone else turns it down because you're not going anywhere. Or Dawn.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk this
I'll be sending an email, a spirited email to Dawn.
We're going to talk this. We're having dinner New Year's Eve with our wives, and we're going to talk this over.
You guys can all talk about that.
We'll have a meeting on that. So you don't know what the future holds. What would you like to see the future? Would you like to see yourself like a Sharon Rose, for example, long time?
I'm just not putting any pressure on myself in that sense. I think things always work out the way that they're supposed to. I didn't ever think when I left Maine for college that I would ever return to Maine. But
you were done with Maine?
I wasn't even done with it. I just never saw how great it was until I had to go out and experience that like not every place is like it. Not even close, by the way. And so it's given me this whole newfound appreciation. And so I ended up here You know, not that I wasn't expecting it. I planned to move back, but I didn't really know what the future held. Like, was I only coming back for a couple months and then I was leaving? And here I am a year later, and I just am learning to just take a breath and see what happens. But I do know that I really like what I do, and if I can continue to have storytelling a part of my life, I will. I like doing the news, but I really like the human interest stories, the ones that make an impact. I like getting out in the community, meeting people, and just learning their stories.
I've always thought, like what Dawn does, or like Hannah Shivi does, goes out and does the news and stories and all that, and all the reporters and whatnot, is maybe even more exciting than being in the studio and just reading the same thing over and over. You know, you do it, 3 times in the course of a morning? Or 4 times, and it can get repetitious.
Yeah, there's pros and cons.
But then you have to make it sound, which you do a fabulous job of it.
Well, thank you.
Like it's the first time you've read it.
Yeah.
And anybody that watches the show, knows you've done it a couple times probably.
There's, benefits to both, and I do like doing both. So, you get to like some team building too in the studio, and
Have you ever done weather?
No. No. There was one time in Michigan where I was really good friends with the meteorologist, and it was on the evening show, and his clicker stopped working. He stepped off and thought it would be funny if he stepped off of the green screen, thought it would be funny if he said, like, Hannah's going to step in while I go and get this fixed. So I did that just as like a joke. But
Your one and only time.
Yeah, I will not do it again.
The weather girl?
No. They're professionals for a reason. They're meteorologists, and you have to have a degree in that. So
they're the only ones I know that can be wrong and get away with it.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure they hear that all the time.
Oh yeah, I know. And man, they have a great team too at News Center.
They do.
So
they absolutely do.
So impressive.
We've been very fortunate at LCTV. We've been able to, through Dawn, and share some stuff with them. And when we had the opportunity to interview Dawn in his 50 years of broadcasting, I got a chance to talk with Amanda, who I think is fantastic, and Bill Green, and all those, and Rob called, like I told you off camera.
Yeah.
It was just so much fun.
I
got some positive feedback
Yeah.
from those guys, how much they like the show. So.
Oh, good. Yeah, huge congrats to Dawn too. Someone that's also been just like so kind to me since I first got here.
A lot of wisdom there.
Yeah, my gosh, yeah. I know. It's unbelievable. Deserves all the accolades too, that and the recognition he's receiving. So.
Do you see yourself maybe going into management later in life?
I don't think so.
No. You don't.
I need to be managed. No. I liked being out in the field, being in the studio. One of those things in either capacity I like. I just want a role that feels okay, and it's more so about where I'm at instead of, like, geographically speaking, and the role. Those things have to come together in unison for me.
I'm going to take you back. We got a few more minutes here.
Yeah.
Growing up, a Maranacook Black Bear.
Yes.
Played on the basketball
team. Go Black
team.
Bears.
Go Black Bears. Big rivalry with Lincoln Academy down here.
Yes. I've been down here a few times to play basketball.
You've played some basketball. Did you have some luck? Some success?
Yeah. I mean, I think
because girls basketball has always been big down here.
Yes, yeah, and it had some ebbs and flows at Maranacook, but in the last couple years of my time there, we got a new coach. She was fabulous. We had a great team. It was like all my best friends on the team, and we did pretty good. I mean, we had some rebuilding to do. I think I was playing on the varsity team when I was a freshman, and that's not like a tooting my own horn. It's because there was only freshmen at the time. So
by default.
Yes, yeah, exactly. We were getting smoked my first couple years, and I always say I really built some character for us. But it was, I had a blast playing basketball. I played soccer too there, and I think me and Lee were joking because I was like, I think you covered a couple of our games.
He's a recovering sports announcer.
Yeah. So no, it was super fun. But I do remember coming to Lincoln Academy to play basketball here and soccer.
Yeah. Both were big at the school. Maranacook's got a rich history in basketball and soccer as well.
Yes, yeah. No.
They've won some state championships in both.
Yeah, I loved my time at Maranacook, honestly. I know most people don't like high school or middle school for certain reasons. I'm sure I have those stories somewhere, but I had a blast. I loved it.
Just a good time.
It was just a great time.
Did you ever see yourself in high school, like saying maybe I could be? But you
No, but I will say I had a middle school teacher who would say that to me, Mr. Holman. He said, I could see you as a newscaster one day. It's probably just because I got in trouble for talking in class.
I was going to say, because maybe he couldn't shut you up. Is that the problem?
But it's just funny, like, because I remember him saying that, and so full circle, I just got there on my own. So maybe he saw something that I could do that, and I didn't, because I never thought I could. And also, one of my best friends really pushed me to do it too. So
really,
yeah. I remember her just sitting me down and being like, "You can do this," because I just thought it was so, I don't know, unattainable. And
well, I think we all have that place in life where I'm not sure I can do that.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sitting in a chair saying, the chair I never thought I could sit in and interview a Don Kerrigan or a Hannah Cumler.
Oh my God.
You
well,
know, I mean,
don't put me in the same sentence as him.
Well, no,
Don Kerrigan's, you know, I'm intimidated of that too. I had to do that for the Pumpkin Fest story this year, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm sitting next to Don.
I think that all the time when I give him rides. You know, here's the kid I went to school with. You know, and now we're not kids anymore.
Right.
You know?
But he's such a household name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's so down to earth.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just a nice guy. So, but you're right. Yeah. You get to that point, you think it's unattainable, but you have nice people around you, I'm sure, that just give you that extra push. And my friend Katie, we lived together at the time. She just was like, go for it. And why not? And so I did, and here I am, and I'm so glad that I did.
It's kind of like if you don't ask the question, the answer is always no.
Yes, exactly. So interesting stories of how people get to certain points in their lives, but...
Well, you came from Maranacook to Pembroke Harbor to Schooner Landing
yeah.
to northeastern to Michigan to South Carolina.
All over the place.
Back to Portland, back to the Schooner Landing.
Yeah.
And the Pumpkin Fest.
I know, I love it. But you know,
I mean, you're kind of like full circle, girl.
It really is. They say that thing too, like Maine has this weird way of reeling you back in, even when you're trying to resist. And that, it couldn't be more true for me. It reeled me back in, and thank goodness. Yeah.
Well, we're glad you did.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Hans, is there anything I've left out? I mean, we've covered a lot of territory here.
No, I just think the one thing that, like, I wish I could tell, like, myself.
Here's your opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's just like Maine is so unmatched, and the people here are unmatched. They're just the nicest, kindest, most genuine people, and you've certainly been that for me since we were connected on the Pumpkin Fest. So thank you, and thank you for keeping in touch. And that's just like who Mainers are, and yeah, it makes me feel really fortunate to be from here.
So have you had something to say in a quickly to a young person out there?
Oh my gosh, just don't overthink anything in life and just go for it. It's not as daunting if you just take the first step. Yeah.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Well, Hannah, thank you so much for taking time out of a busy day.
Yeah.
I wish you all a Merry Christmas.
Yes, you too.
And give all those folks at the News Center my best.
I will.
And tell them LCTV's here if they ever need any footage.
I will. I'll tell them that we'll see you emceeing the next Pumpkin Fest.
Okay.
With Dawn.
Okay. So my guest today has been News Center's Hannah Cumler. She's a local, kind of a local girl that has come back and did some Pumpkin Fest racing, and we've just had a great time. Thank you so much for joining us. So for this episode of Talkin' Town Talk, I'm Larry Seidlinger. Thanks for watching, and wish you all a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you somewhere down the road, folks. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.
LCTV is your nonprofit community media station. Please donate at lctv.org to keep us strong. Thank you.